and I'm going to introduce, and you are going to hear from Cathy Thomas with Acadiana Area Human Services District. Come on over, Cathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cathy Thomas. I'm with Acadiana Area Human Service District, and we are the local government entity that administers OCDD programs. So we are the single point of entry for individuals with developmental disabilities into the state system. My role at the agency is I'm assistant director, and I help to facilitate the entry into the system and some of our programs. So the services that are offered through Acadiana Area Human Service District are it's all of your state services for individuals with developmental disabilities. And in order to access those services, we are the single point of entry. And so the one takeaway that I want to get to anybody and everybody who has a child with a disability or an individual with a disability in their family is to call our agency as soon as possible and qualify your individuals to make sure that they're in our system, even if you don't need services right now. Many of us are not going to need any services, but you need to get the person qualified as soon as possible. And there's a couple of different reasons. Number one, to qualify for services, we have to prove that whatever disability you have, developmental disability, has manifested prior to age 22. So we have to have proof that the individual has had this from birth, or that they've had an accident that happened 21 and under. That's very, very important. Something that happens really often is an individual will come into our system and they're 50, 60 years old, and their parents can't care for them anymore. Their parents have always cared for them. And now we have to figure out whether or not they're eligible. When somebody is 40, 50, 60 years old, and you're looking for eligibility documents to prove that their disability occurred before they were 22, it's very difficult, if not impossible, and then the person may not qualify. So the biggest takeaway from this is that you need to call immediately and make sure that your child or your family member or yourself, that all of your information is in our system and that you go ahead and qualify for services. So what qualifies people for developmental disability services? It's kind of a twofold. Number one, you have to have a diagnosed developmental disability. And so what is that? That would be autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. There's lists and lists of different conditions that would qualify you. So first you have to have that. And then second, you have to have what are called substantial functional limitations. And so what does that mean for an everyday person? That means that the disability has affected your life in some way, and you're not able to work through some of your daily tasks, that you're going to need some assistance. So you may have cerebral palsy, and it doesn't really affect your life. I have lots of friends who have this condition. It's affecting part of their body, but they can really do everything by themselves. They can take care of their personal grooming. They can bathe themselves. They can eat by themselves. They have typical jobs. So although they have the condition, it doesn't really affect their life. We see this sometimes in individuals with autism too. Just because you have autism doesn't mean that it's resulting in major impairments in your life. And so some of those individuals may not qualify. You have to show that you're having difficulty in at least 3 different areas in your life, and that you're needing some special assistance. And so those are your 2 primary things that you need. If you have a child right now and you really don't need services, but you have access to their IEP and you have access to their records showing that they were diagnosed, you have access to their hospital records, I urge you to give our agency a call and go ahead and go through the registration process. like I said, probably the biggest problem that we see is there are these families who, fantastic families, they take care of all of the needs of their child. They've never needed any help. But then one of the parents passes away, the primary caregiver gets ill and can no longer care for someone. And at that point, they come in a panic and they need services quickly and they try and qualify. It is much easier to qualify your child now, even if you don't need services, when they're 30 or 40 years old and you do need services. You don't have to worry about it because you're in our system and we can say, oh, this person has already been approved. And so then we can start the process of assessing needs and getting you the things that you need right away. So please give us a call. And you can also call us to find out whether or not you're in the system. Call and say, hey, I need to see if my son is in the system. I think we've called, but I can't remember. Can you tell me if he's in the system? And all you have to do is call our office and ask for the entry to you. Just say that you want to see if your child has qualified. Our number is 337-262-5610. And again, just call and ask if your son or daughter qualifies and what services they may have access to. So what is it that we do? So once your person is qualified and you've gone through the entry process, you've brought us all of your documents and we've assessed that, yes, this is a person who has what we call a statement of approval. You get access to what services. So some of the things that we have are the Flexible Family Fund. And Flexible Family Fund is a grant that can be given to an individual with a severe developmental disability under the age of 18. It's a monthly stipend, $258 a month, and you can call and put yourself on the waiting list for that and register your child. The child first has to have a statement of approval with us, but that is a huge help. And the reason that that exists is because we know how expensive it is to care for a child with special needs. And so I urge anyone with a child under 18 to come in and apply for the Flexible Family Fund. Of course, we have our entry department. We work very closely with early steps. So if you have a child who is exiting early steps at age 3, they'll then exit into our system. Whenever early steps stops, our agency steps in to continue those services. We help quite a bit with school transition services. And so if you have a child who has been in special education and they're exiting the school system and they're not going to be going to college, you're worried about them finding a job, we would do a transition meeting with you to talk about what services are available. After they get out of school, they may qualify for supported employment. They may qualify for day programs, and our agency and our waivers help to fund all of those activities. We do supported independent living. And so the number one question that we get from parents is, what's going to happen when I'm no longer there? Or how is my child going to live independently without me? Our program is the answer. If your child qualifies and they have a statement of approval, then we can assist them with supported independent living in the community. And what that amounts to is there are provider agencies who can come in and assist with paying bills, assist with finding apartments, assist with if they're going to live in the family home with those things. They make sure that the bills are paid and that they're getting the services that they need. This is also your safety net because we're not going to live forever. And if our children outlive us, then what's going to happen whenever they need care? And it'll be the programs through our agency that will help to provide that care. We have an individual and family support program, and that program is kind of a crisis program. When we find an individual with a developmental disability has a major crisis, we have some funding that's set aside to assist with those things. Some examples of that, we had somebody who was on a ventilator and their electric bill was extremely high, higher than their gross monthly income. And so they were requesting assistance to pay